Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a weekend. Hey, baby, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Very good. You're always so excited to be working weekends. Not so excited?
No, not excited to be working
Well,
weekends.
I got some fun stuff that's going to cheer you up. First of all, take a listen to this. Genetically engineered mice have produced a malaria vaccine in their milk that works to protect monkeys from malaria. So that's good news with monkeys that have malaria.
I don't even know what malaria is.
It's a disease that's not good. And genetically engineered mice can now produce a vaccine against malaria. Crazy. Hey, when christening a ship, instead of using champagne, you know what the Vikings would use?
What?
A human being. They would sacrifice a human being when they christened a ship.
They smacked a human being up against the front of the ship?
Apparently. It says here, when christening a ship, instead of using champagne, the Vikings would sacrifice a human being.
Interesting.
So there you go. Now you know that. Crazy stuff. Coming up later in the program, we have your scoop of the day. And since it's a weekend edition, we have your second scoop as well. That is all on the way, and many other fun things also coming up in a bit.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It's Saturday, March 19th, and Sunday, March 20th this weekend. That means, let's start with Saturday, Clients Day, Corn Dog Day, Earth Hour Day, Endometriosis March Day. It's also International Sports Car Racing Day, Goddess of Virility Day, National Chocolate Caramel Day, National Poultry Day, National Quilting Day, Operation Iraqi Freedom Day, and Swallows Return to San Juan Capistrano Day. So you get all that going on Saturday. Sunday is Alien Abduction Day, so that's really out of this world. Did you know that?
That is amazing.
It's also Bed In for Peace Day, Great American Meat Out Day, International Astrology Day, International Day of Happiness, French Language Day, Kiss Your Fiancé Day.
Oh, good Lord.
Proposal Day, Snowman Burning Day. Spring is officially here Sunday at 12:30.
How do you burn a snowman?
Oh, you just light him on fire.
You can't light a snowman on fire.
Well, you light something on fire underneath him and make him melt. I don't know. It's also World Storytelling Day Sunday, Won't You Be My Neighbor Day, and World Day of Theater for the Children and Young People. All of that. A lot of stuff going on this weekend. It's a busy weekend. Get out there and celebrate.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by Knowles Systems. If you have funds earning less than 6%, listen to this. Commercial mortgage bridge loans pay 6% to 8%. That might be just what you need. You're placed in first position on loans secured by high-quality commercial real estate like hotels, apartments, and office buildings. Your principal never fluctuates in value. You receive 6% per year paid monthly, and your principal is returned in full at the end of each cycle. You never pay commissions, management fees, or asset charges, and you can make these loans inside or outside of an IRA. I'll give you a toll-free number to call, 888-547-8007. Start earning 6% now. Call 888-547-8007.
John and Heidi.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. Can you be arrested for eating French fries? Apparently you can. Take a listen to this. A 7th grader, keep in mind, 7th grader, recently stopped at McDonald's and got some fries on her way to the Washington, D.C. Metro train station. There, she ran into some trouble. You see, this young lady went down to the train and failed to realize the city had a week-long undercover crackdown on violators of laws that prohibit eating on the train station or anywhere in the train station. As she passed a station kiosk, an undercover agent approached her, stopped her, searced her, and then handcuffed her.
Oh, my gosh.
And took her off to a detention center where
Are
she
you
was
kidding me?
checked in, fingerprinted, and held. The sentence imposed on her for snacking on the Metro is for community service and counseling at the Boys and Girls Club.
Counseling?
Yeah. She's a 7th grader, keep in mind.
Oh,
Just
can you imagine
eating
the
some French fries.
hellstorm that would be going on if I lived there and if that was my child?
That would be a bad day
It
for
would
the Metro
be
people there. I would just
ugly.
I would not want to be involved on the wrong side of that deal.
Wow.
I don't understand
Wow.
if they're having a problem with people eating. I understand saying no eating, but you don't arrest somebody. You take the food away and make
That's
them throw it away.
insane.
And I could see them saying, "Hey, sorry, you can't. You can wait out here and eat, or you can throw that away and get on the train, but you can't do both." But you don't arrest somebody. I think that's just going
That
too
poor
far.
little girl that had
Yeah.
to have just killed her.
A 7th grade girl, again, arrested for eating French fries
Wow.
at the train station.
Yeah, there would
Ooh.
be. It would be ugly.
Yeah, it would be bad. You know it's true because you heard it on the radio.
John and Heidi.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
and this is your brain on drugs. If you keep buying alcohol when you're drunk and you get hurt, is it the fault of the alcohol seller? Well, that's the case one man is trying to make in a lawsuit. A Florida man said he was shocked by 13,000 volts of electricity after climbing up a transformer in a drunken stupor. He has sued 6 bars and stores that supposedly sold him alcohol illegally. Ed O'Rourke, also named Tampa Electric Company, as a defendant in the lawsuit. He says the utility company, quote, did not do enough to prevent him from slipping into the fence.
Gosh.
So he slipped through a gated area in a locked substation and climbed a transformer one night. He was thrown more than 40 feet, burned over 60% of his body, leaving him with permanent immobility to his right arm and severe scars. According to the lawsuit, he's unable to control his urge to drink alcoholic beverages, and he says the bars and the stores negligently sold him alcohol despite his continual consumption.
Whatever.
So here's the thing, Mr. O'Rourke. If they hadn't sold it to you, would you then be suing them because they discriminated against you and they wouldn't sell it to you?
Yes, he would have. He was looking for a lawsuit. And I'm sorry, self-responsibility, people.
Yeah.
Take responsibility for your own actions.
Amen, sister. Preach it. So there you go.
I get so riled up. I don't even know why you read these stories.
That's what happens when your brain is on drugs.
John and Heidi.
Time now for our moment of duh. Calvin Barfield and Shannon Parrish and Stacy Ellis are who we're talking about today. Recently, they went to a drive-up window of a Sylvester, Georgia bank to cash a check. Unfortunately, it was a stolen check. Even worse news for the trio is that the teller recognized the check as one that belonged to a coworker. The teller stalled the suspects by telling them she needed some ID. That gave Joyce Powell time to check with the police to find out that somebody had broken into her home. The quick-thinking suspects soon smelled a rat, and they beat it before the cops got there. However, they were quickly apprehended thanks to the ID that they had sent in to give to the teller. So, there you go. That's probably not the smartest thing to do. Give them your ID and then drive away. There you go. That's your moment of duh. We have your scoop of the day on the way.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now your scoop of the day. The FDA reports that meat from cloned animals is, quote, perfectly safe to eat.
I'm not going to eat any of it.
You know what it's really good for? It's really good for making double cheeseburgers. it's cloned meat. All right, moving on. Hey, if you're looking for a wake-up buzz and you don't want to mess around by drinking, coffee and stuff, maybe you could take a shower and wake yourself up with a new soap called Shower Shocker. It delivers 2 cups of coffee's worth of caffeine per shower. So you get a wake-me-up in the shower. Somehow caffeine is introduced through your pores. I'm not sure exactly what happens. I don't think I want to do that.
No, I
Doesn't sound good to me.
That's a bad idea.
There was a time when some psychologists would tell you that to be happy you had to be selfish. New research now indicates that we are the happiest when we think of others. Do you agree?
I agree.
It says people who are happy are those who are generous and care for others and have not moved away from being totally involved with just themselves. Or I'm sorry, who have moved away with being totally involved with just themselves. Because I've noticed that too. If I do something that's good for me, it makes me feel okay. But if I do something nice for somebody else, it makes me feel great. I'm like, that's awesome. Authorities charged a man with driving under the influence early Monday after police pulled him over for driving a car with only 3 tires. Police said an officer spotted a 27-year-old man driving without a rear passenger tire, and he had bloodshot eyes. A breathalyzer test that he took registered 0.2 on a blood alcohol level. That's twice the legal limit in his state. Maurice Gladney of St. Louis, Missouri, decided to rob somebody on the street for money, right? Wrong. Seems Maurice needed some ways to vent his frustration and decided robbing somebody at gunpoint was a good way to go about doing it. What was he upset about? Good question. He says he was in distress over his favorite team losing a football game.
Oh, wow.
So he didn't want any money. He just wanted somebody to yell at for a while, and he held him at gunpoint while he yelled at them. That's That's kind of weird. A Massachusetts man has been arrested in connection with the theft of hundreds of boxes of cereal. The employees at a grocery store in Natick became suspicious when they noticed him coming back to the cereal aisle over and over again. After notifying authorities, police found 265 boxes of cereal in his van. He was charged with shoplifting and posted bail. According to the reports, he did not have a favorite brand. It was basically whatever kind of box he could stuff in there. What was he doing? He is a serial thief, I can tell you that. Ooh, my dad jokes are really going bad today.
Yeah, they are.
Hey, didn't turn out exactly the way that he had planned when 50-year-old John Wesley Bradley of Nashville tried to rob a bank. He entered a local bank there in Nashville and handed a teller note saying he was committing a robbery and he had a gun. When the teller didn't respond immediately, he left. However, the story doesn't end there. The 26-year-old teller followed him outside, saw that he didn't appear to be armed, and then tackled him in the grass and waited for police to arrive. So there's a guy that went above and beyond the Call of Duty right there.
There you go.
All right, let's get to our strange law for today. It says here, I thought the French were considered romantic. Maybe they are. Maybe that's why lawmakers there passed this one. It's a law making it illegal to kiss on the railways in France. So apparently they were kissing on the railroad tracks, causing problems. I don't know what's going on
Maybe
there exactly.
maybe that's what they call their subways or the trains.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Maybe.
Anyway, it's a strange law. This has been your Scoop of the Day.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by Knowles Systems. If you have funds earning less than 6%, listen to this. Commercial mortgage bridge loans pay 6% to 8%. That might be just what you need. You're placed in first position on loans secured by high-quality commercial real estate like hotels, apartments, and office buildings. Your principal never fluctuates in value. You receive 6% per year paid monthly, and your principal is returned in full at the end of each cycle. You never pay commissions, management fees, or asset charges. And you can make these loans inside or outside of an IRA. Start earning 6%. Go to commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com right now. What are you waiting for? Go to commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com. Again, that's commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com.
John and Heidi.
Now your second scoop of the day. All right, this is the little bonus scoop. This is kind of fun, isn't it?
Oh, having a blast.
Heidi loves it. This is when I clean out all of the stuff that I've been saving for a week. It says here, saying that a father puts his son's life in danger here might be the understatement of the year. A Spanish judge has revoked the parental visitation rights of a man who took his 10-year-old son running with the bulls in Pamplona, Spain.
I think I read this online.
Spanish TV showed a boy smiling as he ran ahead of a pack of charging bulls with his daddy. Images didn't sit well with the city officials who fined the boy's father $200, only $200.
Wow.
According to the city's regulations, runners in the festival must be 18. It's also angering the man's ex-wife who took her case to the police when she saw the footage. So, yeah, that guy was...
Can't say I blame her for
that
being
was kind of dumb.
upset about that.
Take a listen to this story. A UPS driver was involved in a crash on an icy road near Keene, New Hampshire. He was rushed to the hospital with a head injury. Unfortunately, when they got him to the medical center, it was discovered that the machine used to do the necessary test was broken. Although parts were on order, sure enough, guess what? They were on the truck that he was driving.
Oh.
Yeah, they couldn't fix the machine. They'd been shipped UPS. They were on the truck that was crashed, and the guy that was literally sitting in the hospital, he was the one that needed to deliver the parts.
Oh, funny.
So, anyway, the parts were retrieved. The UPS driver is recovering nicely now. I just think that's very ironic. All right, we try to avoid sewer humor here on the John and Heidi Show, but I've got some toilet paper humor. Can we do that?
Sure thing.
All right, Philadelphia police have arrested a man who stole a truckload of toilet paper. The truck was stolen after the driver left the engine running to warm up. Officers caught the thief using a satellite tracking system that was installed in the truck. They got to pinpoint its location. The 44-year-old man claims he was going to sell the 18,000 rolls of toilet paper on the streets. Would you buy toilet paper from a man on the street? Hey,
no.
Want some 2-ply? Want some 4-ply?
Not at all.
All right. In a spy novel, first of all, I got to tell you, this is actually something that I found on Facebook. A friend had this on here, and I thought this was funny. It said, in a spy novel I just read, the hero hid a letter in a particular statue in Washington, D.C. I was heading there just recently, so on a whim, I decided to see if the statue really contained the small little niche the author described. To my great surprise, it actually did, and there was a cellophane-wrapped letter inside. After a moment's hesitation, I looked around to see if anybody was looking. Nobody was, so I reached in and I pulled out the letter. And then I burst into laughter. An unidentified reader had penned this letter, and it says, pretty good book, wasn't it? So
Funny.
Somebody else read the book, and they thought, I'm going to go down and put a letter in that thing. I think that's awesome.
That is cool.
I wish that he would have said in here which novel and which... which
that's funny.
I'll have to ask him, and then I'll let you know, Heidi. She's a reader. I'm really not. It was a very short trip to paradise for a 13-year-old boy. He flew from Washington to Hawaii and back in less than a day.
Wow.
The unidentified teen managed to charge the airline ticket on his mom's credit card, got himself to the airport and aboard the flight to Maui, but his mom figured out where the boy was going at her expense, so a Maui County officer met him when he got there. The boy was booked on a return flight and was back home before midnight. The boy's mother realized her son was missing and checked their home computer, which showed he had ordered a plane ticket to Hawaii.
Hey, if you're going to run away, do it in style.
His mom sentenced him to 2 years of yard work to cover the cost of the ticket. Oh, wow. Clifford Miles of Thunder Bay, Ontario, decided to give police officers an exciting chase when he was being pulled over for his erratic driving. Instead of stopping, Clifford drove into a grocery store parking lot where he slammed into several shopping carts. Not being able to beat the cops and the shopping carts, Clifford abandoned the car and decided to make a chase on foot. But wait, he decided he needed a haircut, so he stepped into a nearby salon, literally running from the police, thought he'd go and get a haircut. He was being chased by cops, overcome by shopping carts, stops for a haircut. Not exactly sure why, but apparently he wanted to look good for his photo. But seriously, on the run from the cops, he ran in to get a haircut.
Huh, funny.
Not a good plan. And our final story for our second scoop. In Brooklyn, New York, Adula Darby sent a threatening letter to the cops filled with white powder and containing the words, "Catch me if you can." The New York police were up to the challenge, even though Darby made it pretty darn easy for them. Right after "Catch me if you can," he signed his real name. And he included his return address on the envelope. Catch me if you can.
That's
okay.
so funny.
That'll be easy enough. What a moron. It's kind of fun getting our second scoop. But, usually we just end it right there. But since we have a second scoop, doesn't it make sense to have a second strange law?
Sure.
All right, let's wrap up this scoop of the day with a strange law. A policeman may bite a dog to quiet him in Paulding, Ohio.
Oh.
Or Paulding. I don't know how you say it. Anyway, the police can bite dogs to quiet him. I don't know if it works, but they can do it.
Awesome.
That is a strange law. This has been your Scoop of the Day.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Keystone Treatment Center. Addiction is no laughing matter. Call Keystone Treatment Center toll-free at 1-844-204-1055.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Sarsaparilla is the root that flavors root beer. That's why sarsaparilla tastes so much like root beer. They're made from, a lot of the same stuff.
Okay.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Cranberry Jell-O is the only Jell-O that has the flavor that comes from real fruit, not artificial flavoring.
Really?
Yeah. Cranberry. I didn't even know they made cranberry Jell-O. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Soldiers from every country in the world salute with their right hand. Every one of them. So even if you're left-handed, you still salute with your right hand. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Researchers say the more carrots and tomatoes you eat, the less chances of having asthma.
Really?
I love carrots. I don't like tomatoes, but maybe I have to eat more and get rid of some asthma.
I don't think you have asthma.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know what I got. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Super glue was invented by accident. How crazy is that? Says the researcher was trying to make an optical coating material. They would test the properties by putting them between two prisms and shining light through them. When he did this with the cyanoacrylate, whatever substance that makes super glue, he couldn't get the prisms apart. That's when he realized that, hey, that didn't work, but maybe this will work for something else. There you go. A couple of fun facts for you on a weekend edition of the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by RadioReallyWorks.com. I know you're listening to a podcast, but did you know the John and Heidi Show is also a radio show? And for those of you who have businesses, you should consider using radio to advertise your business. We can even help you create some catchy little jingles or amazing radio ads that will help pull people in. Get all the details or just learn more at RadioReallyWorks.com. That's RadioReallyWorks.com.
John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show this weekend. It's no big secret that, we don't get a lot of sleep in this country. A lot of people don't get enough. You're supposed to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And if you're trying to figure out how you can do that, maybe you should start in the kitchen. I'm not saying take a nap in the kitchen, but start in the kitchen by having the right kind of foods. You know what those are?
No.
So here's
Like
some
foods that make you drowsy, you mean?
Yeah, these are from Yahoo. They say bananas. They're practically a sleeping pill in a peel.
Really?
In addition to a bit of soothing melatonin and serotonin, bananas contain magnesium, which is a muscle relaxant. So one banana, and you could be out like a light. Chamomile tea, which is such a funny
did know
looking word.
this.
That's another one that'll help you at bedtime if you're struggling to get to sleep. A little chamomile and... How about warm milk? It's not a myth. Milk
I
has
knew
some
that.
tryptophan in it. It's an amino acid that has a sedative, and it'll help you fall asleep if you have a little bit of warm milk. How about some honey?
Oh, I didn't know honey could make
Drizzle
you
a
sleepy.
little bit of honey in your warm milk or your herbal tea, and it'll help you fall asleep a little quicker as well. A couple other foods rather, that'll help you fall asleep. Potatoes. A small baked potato, it's not going to overwhelm you, but it'll actually help you fall asleep.
Really?
Oatmeal has a rich source of vitamins that'll help you fall asleep. Almonds, a handful of almonds could actually induce a little snoozing. Flaxseed, when life goes awry, feeling down, sprinkle 2 tablespoons of flaxseed on your bedtime oatmeal, and next thing you know, you'll be sleeping.
Eats oatmeal before? Who eats oatmeal, period?
I don't know.
I mean, it's just...
Oatmeal
that's
and flaxseed.
nasty.
Maybe a little almonds in there. You'll be good to go. 2 other things on here. Whole wheat bread. A slice of toast with your tea and honey. That'll help. And then the last one on the list, of course, the most famous one for the tryptophan is turkey. So if you're trying to get to sleep and you just can't go there, try going cold turkey. Or at least eating some cold turkey. On
There you
some
go.
whole wheat bread, apparently. That's going to do it for that little pile of interesting info from Yahoo Food. Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show this weekend.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you want to buy or sell an RV, go to RVRealtor.com. List your RV for free. Learn more at RVRealtor.com.
Anybody ever tamper with your garbage, Heidi?
I don't believe so.
I don't know, because once I throw it out, I don't ever really
Yeah,
look.
who
But
cares?
A man in Normal, Illinois had it happen, and he was surprised what he found. Police in Normal, Illinois. First of all, have you ever heard of Normal, Illinois?
I have not.
Never heard of it either. They were called to a home to investigate the fact that somebody was tampering with a man's garbage. The night before trash day, the man placed an old bed frame and a recliner at the end of his driveway to be taken away by the garbage men. The next morning, the man awoke to find that somebody had added a chest of drawers, a broken TV, a footstool, and a magazine rack, and arranged it in the driveway to make it into a nice little room. That's actually kind of funny.
That is kind of funny.
That's the kind of thing that happens in Normal, Illinois, apparently. Must be normal. Coming up, it's got to be the shoes. We got that. Also on the way, going to talk about Grandma learning to use the computer. If she says she's too old, she might be wrong. We'll tell you how to teach that old dog some new tricks. It's all on the way on this weekend edition of the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
When I was a kid, Air Jordans were brand new. That was like a new thing. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And everybody had to have Air Jordans. I never had Air Jordans. I've never owned a pair in my life, and I'm okay with that. But I got to tell you, according to this story, wearing the same kind of shoes as Michael Jordan will not make you jump higher or run faster. But wearing the same kind of shoes as Roman Kunikov could. It says here he doesn't play basketball. He's a Russian scientist. He's developed some supersonic shoes. A professor at a Russian engineering institute designed a pair of gas-powered boots. They enable the wearer to make 13-foot strides and reach speeds of up to 25 miles per hour. His super boots incorporate a 12-inch piston that strap along the calf, and they wire downward, pushing a metal platform away from the bottom of the shoe, and that'll help the wearer leap up into the air. Springs soften your landing. The shoes weigh about 2.5 pounds each, 2.2 pounds actually. They include a fuel tank, a tiny carburetor, a spark plug, and wires and pipes. An operator sets the carburetor for his weight, then he puts the shoes on, then he steps on the gas, and the fuel will last for about 25 minutes.
Just make sure you don't smash out a cigarette while you're wearing those suckers.
I can only imagine if you tried wearing those on an airplane. I'm pretty sure you're not getting on. Where do you think you're going? Get back here. So they have... That is just an interesting set of gadgets.
Yeah,
there.
that's ridiculous.
I don't think I need any of those either. Air Jordans, eat your heart out. All right, does Grandma say she's too old to use a computer? Stick around. We're going to tell you some tricks and things that we can do to help her learn. It's all on the way.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by Knowles Systems. If you have funds earning less than 6%, listen to this. Commercial mortgage bridge loans pay 6% to 8%. That might be just what you need. You're placed in first position on loans secured by high-quality commercial real estate like hotels, apartments, and office buildings. Your principal never fluctuates in value. You receive 6% per year paid monthly, and your principal is returned in full at the end of each cycle. You never pay commissions, management fees, or asset charges, and you can make these loans inside or outside of an IRA. I'll give you a toll-free number to call, 888-547-8007. Start earning 6% now. Call 888-547-8007.
John and Heidi.
Who says you can't teach an old dog new tricks? If Grandma says, I'm too old to learn how to use a computer, she might be wrong. Did you know that, Heidi?
I absolutely knew that was wrong.
A study at the University of California has definitively shown that seniors who have shunned the internet, they have demonstrated an increased brain activity within 2 weeks of starting to surf the web. So if they actually try, they will figure it out. And within 2 weeks, they're going to be pros. Test subjects were given functional magnetic resonance imaging, which are MRI scans, before and then after learning how to do simple internet searches. The second scan showed huge improvements on brain function in the areas devoted to memory, decision-making, language reading, and visual ability. The boost in brain power was evident in just 2 weeks, during which the participants surfed the web for an hour a day or every 2 days or so. So same people would say, oh, I can't do that. I don't know anything about computers. Within a couple of weeks, they were cruising the internet like it's nobody's business. I think we need to print this story out and give it to your mother.
I would love for my mother to learn how to use the internet. She's just too stubborn.
And I don't know if stubborn's the right thing.
Stubborn is the right thing.
She
It's
just
absolutely. She gets frustrated, and so she says, I'm not going to do it.
She just gives up.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that. That's a bad idea. So anyway, if you hang in there and let somebody teach you, and I think that's what the problem is. We need to just give her. We need to have her. We'll show her. We'll show her how to do it.
Okay.
Have
Good
you
luck with
tried?
that. Oh, yes.
Have you really?
Yeah. And so is my sister-in-law, and so is my brother.
I'll teach
Yes.
her how to do it. I remember she was on the internet for like 2 weeks. Not even that long, like 4 days.
It makes her nervous. She thinks it's going to explode or something if she does something wrong.
My favorite part of that was she called me when she was online. She called me one day. She goes, John, hey, can you help me out? I'm having trouble with my Yahoo. I was like, what? With your what now? With my Yahoo, I can't get it to work. I was like, oh, you mean Yahoo. I think we're talking about two different things here, Grandma. All right, coming up in a bit, we've got some good news. That's on the way.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always try to wrap things up around here with some good news. And I don't know, I think this is good news. Now, somebody listening might say, I think it's terrible news. So we'll just have to agree to disagree. But this is a story that I thought was kind of an interesting thing. It says here, the Alaska Senate has passed a bill that would ban Planned Parenthood materials from being used in public schools during sex education classes.
Oh.
I think this is a good thing. Now,
that's nice.
even for those of you that are for Planned Parenthood, what you got to understand is this is at a school. I don't know that that's necessarily where those things need to be taught. You know, I don't think that's the type of things that should be taught. Anyway, according to ChristianHeadlines.com, Senate Bill 89, and again, this is in the state of Alaska, requires parents to give permission before their children attend public school sex education classes. I also think that's good.
I think
Mom
so,
and Dad
too.
should be able, again, I'm not saying the school shouldn't have any power to do anything, but you know who should have more power than the school?
The parents.
Yeah, Mom and Dad.
When I was a kid, my parents had to sign for me
Mine
to take
too.
sex ed.
Yeah, and nowadays...
I don't know
there's-
why that went away. I have no clue why that
Yeah.
went away.
Well, the bill, again, this is from Alaska. The bill would also ban educational material from any abortion service provider, including Planned Parenthood. So they're saying, instead of having your young children who are very impressionable sit there and read through brochures about just how easy this is to go get an abortion, they're saying, this isn't really the time and place to teach them that, hey, do whatever you want to do. Just go get an abortion when you're done. That's not the whole point of sex education.
Okay.
Is it? So
I don't know.
anyway,
You're getting a little,
a little preachy.
yeah,
All
just
right.
a little.
I'll climb back down off my high horse over here. I just thought that was kind of interesting. And I'll throw a link on our Facebook page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. Again, that's the Alaska Senate that just passed that. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a weekend.
Time now for the bonus break. Only available here on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
And your bonus break is brought to you by the good folks at Knowles Systems. If you haven't heard of them, well, you need to listen up because I got to tell you all about this. If you have funds earning less than 6%, maybe you should check into a better system like Knowles Systems. They have commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com. If you've never heard of a commercial mortgage bridge loan, I'm going to tell you what this is. It's a loan paying 6% to 8%, and it could be just what you need. You're placed in the first position on loans secured by high-quality commercial real estate like hotels and apartments and office buildings. Your principal never fluctuates in value. You receive 6% per year paid monthly, and your principal is returned in full at the end of each cycle. You never pay commissions, management fees, or asset charges. You can make these loans inside or outside of an IRA. If you'd like more info on how you can start earning 6% or more right now, call 888-547-8007. I'll give you that number again in a second, but first, you might want to just check out the website if that's easier. commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com. Again, commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com or 888-547-8007.
John and Heidi.
All right, we got a short and sweet bonus break today, but I think it's a pretty darn funny bonus break as well. William Fogarty forgot to pay a parking ticket 60 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, the 86-year-old intended to pay the fee way back when he got it at Norfolk, Virginia. He even went so far as to purchase a $1 money order to pay the $1 ticket, but he forgot to send it. Well, about a month ago, as he was looking through a box of collectibles, he discovered a wallet with a money order inside. So he wrote a letter to the Norfolk Police Department, and he included the money order in there. The Norfolk police say Fogarty's money order will not be cashed. Instead, it will be framed and displayed in the department's museum.
Aww.
So I'm really glad that it went
I thought
the
you
way
were going
that
to say that once he alerted them to it, they arrested him and he had like
that's the thing that I think-
$30,000.
This could have been our good news story for the day.
Yeah,
right
that was
there
a
as
very
well.
nice story.
I just thought that was really a cool thing. First of all, he didn't have to say anything. 60 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, you think they're still looking for this guy for a $1 ticket?
That's very sweet.
But
That's
it was
a nice
really
story.
cool that he tried to pay it back then, bought the money order, everything was done, but he forgot to drop it off. And then 60 years later, and it's cool that they're going to frame it and put it in their museum because that's the kind of thing, it's an honest guy
That's
right
not
there.
the common sense stuff that you hear anymore.
No.
You hear, he was charged with $30,000.
Just this last week, we talked about a story where a guy, the IRS, remember, it was over a penny.
Yeah.
Because he was off by a penny. It was like $648 and
insane.
13 cents.
This whole world.
And they
has
said,
just
no, it should have been 14
gone to
cents.
crap.
So, well, the whole world has
The
gone to
whole
crap.
world has gone to crap.
Heidi, come on.
Maybe 1% of us are still sane and normal. All of us that are listening to this program, it's the others that are the problem.
So am I one of the 1%? I'm just wondering. I wonder if I could be a part of your fantasy here for a minute. First of all, 1%, really? You think 1% of the world is listening to this program? We do not have ratings like that. I can see the numbers. No, I certainly do appreciate that you're listening, folks. And for doing that, I'm going to give you a free request anytime you call. How's that sound?
There you go.
Whatever. Anyway, your bonus break brought to you by Knowles Systems. If you've got funds that are earning less than 6%, maybe you should check into one of these commercial mortgage bridge loans I've been hearing about. 6 to 8% is what those things earn, and they can be just what you need. All of the details can be found at commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com.